Okay, it's Dr. Brett Butterfield here, in sweats, in my bed. And I wanted to make this video because a lot of times I'll have what I consider to be important ideas to share with you. And I've held off on making a video because maybe I wasn't dressed very nice. I didn't have a good setup, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll do this video later, and it just never really happens. And if I wait for that, a lot of times I'll get a phone call anyway. I'll get distracted. Here right now, someone might walk in on me. I'm just gonna go straight through, and so there's that. And I also think that healthcare can be that way a little bit too. There's not always a perfect time. There's basically never a perfect time for you to get started. You just have to make a choice to get started with whatever it is. Of course, I'm talking about health, but I'll give you an example too. So in high school, I was a wrestler. Not just high school, I wrestled for 7 years. And as a wrestler, I had to maintain my weight very carefully because they have weight limits. And wrestling season goes from November through February. So let's think about that. During that time period, there's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, there's New Year's, there's, my birthday. And I had this realization that there's never really a good time to do something. But you just have to make a choice, and you have to stick with your choice, okay? And, of course, right now it's the holidays, and it's not really convenient or whatever, and I do my best to help people to enjoy the holidays and so forth, but you really you have to make a choice. My health is important to me or whatever it is, and I'm just gonna do that. I also wanted to talk about how the therapeutics that work, that are effective, they don't always seem perfect. And that's not to say that I don't work really hard to have the best possible technique and deliver the best care that I possibly can. What I mean is sometimes things that work seem kind of weird. They don't make sense to us. They might be foreign or from the model of Newtonian physics, it doesn't seem like it would work. And, a lot of what I do, some of it's from a level of Newtonian physics, but really there's a higher level of physics, which is quantum physics, which supersedes it. And that's not pseudoscience. It's a very scientific field of study. And a lot of what I do is from that level. It's from vibration, it's from frequency, and even if it feels uncomfortable for you at first, it is something that is extremely effective. It's really working at the root cause of what's going on. Now, I see it's easy to get caught up if you see like these instruments that are they look expensive and they're shiny, and they are expensive. Doctors will spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars on these instruments. And not to say that there's not value in that, but just don't make your choice based off of how expensive is this instrument. A lot of times I'll try and integrate something new by really usually go back to just seeing how can I just do this with my hands, or simple handheld instruments. And I would say your eyes and your ears can fool you. And so it's really based off results, and at some level it's based off of a gut feeling. And you can just see, I have lots of testimonials of how these things that I do work. And at times I've been uncomfortable because I understand that it's new to people and it's uncomfortable for them. Or there's things like I'll ask someone to eat liver, and it's like pulling teeth trying to get someone to eat liver, but I know that that's what works. And I don't like to pull people's teeth. I don't like to wrestle with people on this stuff, but it's my job to do what works. And I think I'd be cheating you if I wasn't doing what works, if I was just doing what was easy. And so, and there's some of these techniques that I think that can be very effective. And I've been kind of a scaredy cat. I maybe be afraid of what people would think of it because it doesn't look like something that you're used to. But I've just seen, so I've been doing this type of technology for almost 10 years now. And I've just seen so many examples of turning people's health around, doing things that, I was, as a student, I was doing some things that I wasn't really seeing a lot of doctors doing. I was being very successful with some of these techniques. And so sometimes it's going to be, you might have to have a bit of an open mind. And I think it's good to, you don't have to necessarily trust blindly. If you have questions, I'm glad to answer the questions to the best of my ability. And, maybe do some of your own investigation. I firmly believe that what I do is based in science, and it doesn't have to be gold standard, double-blind, placebo, peer-reviewed. That's not the only type of research and science that counts. There's lots of great science. There's lots of great research. It doesn't necessarily have to fit that criteria. I think that's a great thing to do. But I know we have something that works. So the method that we practice in our clinic is total body modification. And that's been taught around the world since 1978 is when the first seminars were taught. And it's worked for people all around the world. It's something I know that works. There's no double-blind, peer-reviewed research about it. I'm sorry. It's what we do have is hundreds of thousands of people around the world who've received TBM. We have practitioners who that's all they've done for their whole practice, and they're able to stay in business year after year because they're helping people and people are coming back. Most of my mentors, they have cash practices and they have a waiting list, and it's all by referral. And so it's this technology works even if we don't understand it. Even if you don't understand it at first, I'm always growing my understanding of it more and more all the time. I'm looking into the history, the lineage. I'm looking into the science, and I'm learning more all the time. But I know that works, and so things don't have to be perfect. I work out of an old building. I like old things. I'm fine with that, but it's not some flashy, new, expensive office. It's a real salt-of-the-earth kind of office, and I work with my hands. I work the fundamentals. I do diet, lifestyle like crazy. I teach people how to be healthy. I do very fundamental supplements. I do vitamins and minerals and probiotics. I'm not really using a lot of rare exotic herbs and plants and so forth. So this video is getting plenty long, but I wanted to bring this point home. Okay, so I'm a fundamentals kind of doc. It's not always flashy. Things aren't always perfect. I know this stuff works. At first, if you get you're not sure if it's going to work, give it a shot. Ask questions, that's fine. See if you can get underneath that that maybe skepticism, if it counters what something that you thought that you knew. But yeah, I'm gonna do what works best, regardless of how good it looks. Okay? Cheers.